Hi, what's up YouTube? This is Steve. This is a video on my knife collection, or the knives that I'll use on a utility basis. As I said in an earlier video, I do live in the UK, so there are restrictions on what knives can and cannot be carried, and there is heavy legislation on what you can and cannot do. So as a preface to this, I'd like to say that in the UK it is illegal to carry a knife if either one or both of these conditions apply. If the blade is 3 inches or over, that is illegal. If the blade locks into position, then that is illegal. Or if both of those conditions apply, the knife is illegal. There is a condition upon that as well. You may have a blade that's over 3 inches long, and you may have a blade that locks in position, but only if you can prove or justify that you have a good reason to have that knife in your possession. It's best though to stick with a knife in the UK for an everyday carry knife, an EDC knife that has a blade of less than 3 inches and that does not lock into position. So as such, my regular EDC knife is the Victorinox Swiss Army knife, the Soldier model, and this is the silver Alox version. It's a fantastic knife, what is sort of a class of knife called a gentleman's knife. It doesn't lock into position, it has a slip joint, the blade is less than 3 inches, and it doesn't draw a lot of attention when you use it. Again, quite jumpy in the UK. If you have a knife and you use it in an open environment, people will often question why, but the Swiss Army knife, that seems to pass without any problem. The knife blade is very, very sharp, and it holds a good edge. My second knife, which would be illegal in this country, is a one-handed opening knife, and it is the SWAT, Smith & Wesson SWAT, and this is the first millennium run. It does lock into position, it is one-handed open, and it is part serrated. It's a good knife. I'm not going to say it's the best knife, but it's a good knife, and it's the kind of knife I would use in the outdoors if I had a good reason to. Say I was climbing and I needed to cut a rope, and I only had one hand free. The serrations would help get through that rope very quickly, and the one-handed opening obviously a bonus. And that's why I can't understand some of the UK laws. The locking open and the one-handed opening is a safety feature and can be used as such. I have a small Gerber splice, just a little multi-tool. The reason I've got this is, again, because it isn't illegal. The blades do not lock into position, and there's a pair of scissors on there, so that's a legal UK carry blade, and useful too in sort of an office or an urban environment. We have the Gerber Artifact, believe it or not, an illegal knife in the UK because this blade does lock into position, so therefore is illegal. It's a utility craft knife. And again, going back to the UK laws, kind of ridiculous. Anybody intent in wrongdoing, and there are a lot of people that are intent in wrongdoing, are not going to worry about laws. So it's only the law-abiding citizens that get penalised, the people that need these for their work or their everyday jobs. In the background I have a Wenger Swiss Army knife. I've had this one an awful lot of years, and this one stays in the car all of the time. It's a fantastic little knife. It doesn't hold as a blade, a knife edge as good as the Victorinox, but it is nonetheless a good blade, and it's got a lot of useful extras on there. I kept that in that little pouch there. Moving on, we've got a little Spyderco Bug, a UK legal version. The blade is not more than 3 inches obviously, and as you can see, it's a slip joint knife, so it doesn't lock into position. Nice, sharp, handy little utility for box opening, and just generally having it on your person. Fantastic and legal. And this is where it becomes way crazy. The Leatherman Wave, in my opinion, the best multi-tool out there, although very, very heavy. It's obviously not scalpelized like some of the others, but the range of tools and the hardware and ability of the stainless steel knife is absolutely fantastic. So you've got your two main knives on there, plain and serrated, and inside you have your pliers and some drivers, and that's absolutely fantastic, but illegal in the UK to carry without a good reason. How ridiculous is that? Little pouch to keep it in. And then I'd like to spend some time on some of my favourite knives. So just move these aside. which are the Opinel or Opinel series of knives. These are French knives, and this particular one that we're looking at here, as you can see, is dinged up pretty well. I've had that for a lot of years, even before they started to put the second safety features in. And yet the knife is still sharp. You can see it's had a good lot of use. It stays sharp, it keeps its edge. It's a fantastic utility knife. I've had that one for a lot of years, I would say probably 10 plus years, and as you can see, it locks open, but this one doesn't lock closed. And I'll show you a newer version which I've had about 5 years or so, and you can see that little notch there that can turn, and that prevents the knife being deployed when it's closed, and it also locks it in position once it's open. So I love these knives. I have two that I would call utility knives, and with me whenever I can, when I have a good reason, whether I'm climbing or doing some outdoor activities, and I do a lot of outdoor activities. So there are some certain times that I can justify carrying these, but again, they're an illegal blade in the UK because they lock open. This is a collector's edition, and I was recently in France. I was on a skiing holiday in Chamonix in the south of France on the Swiss/Italian border, and I got some additions to my collection for Opinels, and this is a collector's edition. It's got a rosewood handle, and the other two you just saw had carbon steel blades. This has the stainless steel blade. If I can get it open with one hand. Again, sharp as anything, and a lovely little collector's version of the Opinel. And just by way of a good laugh, I also got a number 13 version of the Opinel while I was out there. I have no real purpose, and this is definitely illegal in the UK as a carry of any reason, and I don't know how I could justify it in any situation. As you can see, it is a monster blade, but it's a good talking point when people come around and say, have a look at this. It's fantastically sharp, just as all of their others, fantastically well constructed. They're a brilliant knife, Opinel. Just for everyday use, they will take a beating. They cost next to nothing, and they're just a good workhorse. I recommend you get a couple, try them out, see what you think. But from my opinion, for such a cheap knife, you can't go wrong. You really can't go wrong. And just in relation, you can see the size of the knives there. So that's a small collection of my knives. I've got no fixed blade knives here, but I do have several fixed blade knives. I have several single hand opening knives with blades that are 3 inches or greater. Again, they're part of my collection, but can't be used without good reason as an EDC. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you would like to see some more, leave me some comments, and I will try to do some more as soon as I can. Thank you very much for watching.